Starmer is a charlatan. He's a liar. He's a fake. He's a fraud. The Prime Minister is gaslighting the British people.
Former racists. We should get close to Europe. That's where we're going to grow the country. That is not what people want to hear right now, Starmer. Make Britain first again.
He's refusing calls to quit because he's so tin-eared. Keir Starmer is immeasurably thick. Angela Rayner has waged war on Keir Starmer. What we're witnessing in real time is a political assassination.
They are fighting in public now, but I have a very, very big exclusive about the future of the Labour Party and Angela Rayner. This is going to blow your mind. Welcome to today's Daily Expresso with me, JJ Anisiobi, and TalkTV breakfast host Marky Mark Dolan. Marky Mark, how art thou?
Very, very well indeed. A bit worried about our democracy. Britain, a failed state, but apart from that, all is good.
Well, Starmer is officially on the brink. Do you see his speech today? Awful speech.
Horrible.
Terrible. Vague promises, EU Erasmus schemes, steel nationalisation. No one's buying it.
Starmer is a charlatan. He's a liar. He's a fake. He's a fraud. The Prime Minister is gaslighting the British people because you can spend all day long analysing someone's personality, and that's valid in politics because personality and character go a long way. But ultimately, the policies are a catastrophe. And that's why this doesn't need to be a personal attack. It can just be a rational discussion about the fact that this man has the reverse Midas touch. He said he would smash the gangs. Well, he has supported their business model, 70,000 illegals since he got into number 10. When he said he would smash the gangs, he was lying.
Yeah.
This wasn't an aspiration that sadly we didn't, quite hit. Forget about that. He didn't mean it. Similarly, he was going to be the most pro-growth Prime Minister in the history of this country. Well, it was 0% in January. We've got non-existent growth. If you ask our viewers and listeners in the UK, they will tell you that we are in an effective recession.
Yeah.
Those headline figures about 1%, a quarter of 1%, that is a bald man fighting over a comb. Okay? Our viewers in the UK, we're in dans la toilette. We are in the toilet. We're in the brown stuff. Everyone's
I didn't know you spoke German. That's fantastic.
Well, I'll sing in a minute. So that's the economy. He also, in this speech, the speech is a catastrophe because it's basically an act of denial to say nothing to see here. First of all, he's threatening 10 years of Starmerism.
Yeah, he wants 10 more years. He thinks he's the Alex Ferguson of politics. It's nuts.
Yeah, you're going to look at the great history of this country. 2 world wars and a decade of Starmer. Yeah. Right? Those are the headlines. How did they get through? If we have a decade of Starmer, we'll all be war heroes by the end of it. We'll all be veterans. And we'll have a badge saying, I survived Starmer. Obviously, we'll be rather poor at that point. We'll be probably missing limbs. We'll be emaciated.
Yeah.
We'll be pale because there's no energy anymore. We'll freeze to death. But no, honestly, the speech was, what did you think? I thought it was an insult to our intelligence.
Yeah. Look, they got annihilated. It was a disastrous local elections for Labour. And rather than see that as a warning shot and listen to what the public are saying, rather than take the public mood, he's now just saying, reformer divisive, reformer racists, we should get close to Europe. That's where we're going to grow the country. That is not what people want to hear right now, Starmer. Listen to the music, listen to the room, and do what we have been telling you to do for so long. Make Britain first again.
Most definitely. And we've had this conversation so many times on the show. Britain is a very successful multi-ethnic society. You are an ethnic British man. I am technically an ethnic British man as a Paddy, as an Irishman myself. We have a very successful multi-ethnic society. It's a very, very tolerant country, a very harmonious country. But unprecedented recent very high levels of immigration, which no one voted for, and the boats, which are abhorrent. And most people are furious about that.
Yeah.
Those two factors have created a divided country. That is a policy that has divided the nation. And there's, big issues around integration and, of course, the cost of illegal immigration. So the division of which he speaks, which he tries to superimpose on reform and anyone that's worried about, the direction of travel for the country, it's a complete insult. It's like, no, you and previously Boris Johnson have caused this, and by labelling anyone concerned about the consequences of unchecked high-level immigration as being far right. So if you go through a few of the things he's said, first of all, he's refusing calls to quit because he's so tin-eared. And I believe he's got narcissistic tendencies. I think that Starmer is a wild narcissist.
Really?
Yeah. And I think there are parallels between him and Boris Johnson, where the big focus was becoming prime minister rather than having a plan for government.
Yeah, I agree.
And he's so stubborn and he's so thick-skinned as to not listen to the public who have said, we've had enough. Labour MPs, they are punch drunk now from being told at the doorstep that the public don't like Starmer. So he warned that a Labour leadership coup would create chaos. Well, we have chaos already because of his terrible job that he's doing. We have chaos because you've got inflation, which is double the Bank of England's target. We have chaos because we've got no growth. We've got chaos because of policies like a hike in the minimum wage, which is creating youth unemployment. Because the way it works, and of course Labour don't understand this because they've never run a business, they couldn't run a bath. They didn't seem to realise that if you make someone that's worked at a department store for 20 years be paid the same as a new kid out of school aged 18, then employers won't employ those young people. But what companies do, they hire young folk because they're cheaper.
Yeah.
And what they do is they accept, look, there's less experience, we'll have to train them up. But they're, for our business model, that they're coming in, it's cheap. So if you remove that, so we've got the highest youth unemployment in Europe, which is, so the chaos comes from Starmer. The other thing is that he's going to nationalise British steel. Fine, I've got no problem with that. Although what I'd like him to do alongside that is scrap net zero. Because there's no point saying, I'm Keir Starmer, I'm going to protect British industry. We're going to buy British steel. Because you do that. Meanwhile, you have net zero policies which see us pouring concrete into our oil wells.
I think it was Port Talbot in Wales where they had the steel, and it was owned by some Indian magnate, and they shut it down because of net zero targets. So a few thousand people lost their jobs in Wales, and now Starmer's basically U-turn on that and is now saying, okay, we're going to now make steel again and we're going to make it greater than ever before. He's just the king of flip-flopping.
He is. Keir Starmer is immeasurably thick as well. Let's just throw that into the mix. He's insanely stupid because if you look at the fact that in this speech today, his fix for the country is to rejoin effectively the EU. Now, he said the true bit out loud, at least. That's the one good point about the speech, is that he said what he thought, which he's thought all along. That he wanted us back in. That's why he campaigned against Brexit as shadow Brexit secretary under Jeremy Corbyn all those years ago. But he has attacked Brexit today, saying it has made Britain poorer, weaker, and it did not reduce migration. Well, that's misleading. It didn't reduce migration because a very woke, left-wing, progressive, conservative government decided to open the borders. That was not the fault of Brexit. Brexit, in relation to immigration, is like a lock on the front door. If you neither lock nor close your front door, then it won't function very well as a lock on your front door. And that's what Brexit was. We could stop. Immigration could be zero tomorrow, JJ. Thanks to Brexit. That a government hasn't done it is another story. So poorer and weaker. Well, since we left the EU, we've had higher growth in our economy than Germany. Now, did they have Brexit too? I'm so confused. This is the powerhouse of the European Union. We've outpaced them for growth. Did you know that there's more inward investment into the UK than Germany, France, Italy and Spain combined? The City of London is the world financial capital, all since Brexit. Not it didn't become since Brexit, but it didn't stop it. So this is a Starmer, the other thing he's saying, right? He'll always blame others than himself. And I think that fits the narcissistic personality type. Right, you attack him, or you call him out for his behavior. He attacks you. He's the permanent victim. Just trying to do his best. And so, but the other big one is the blame game. So he's trying to blame Brexit for his economic failures, alongside Rachel from Accounts. It's become a political football. And the two of them, they want to blame everyone but themselves. They want to blame Brexit. They want to blame the war in Iran, which only started a couple of months ago, and we were in the toilet way before that war was a twinkle in Donald Trump's eye. Together. Correct. They want to blame Iran. They want to blame Trump's tariffs. They want to blame Brexit. What's next? Battle of Hastings, was that, are we still dealing with the legacy of that? The French Revolution, maybe? Those feisty frogs, it's all their fault. So it's a hideous thing. I'll just, wrap up this analysis because obviously, we come straight on air, straight off the back of this. And I know our viewers want to know, what we're thinking. Closer ties with the EU, well, that is going to be a terrible surrender. The European Union is a dying economic bloc, right? Let's not give up the sovereignty that we've won back. He also promised Labour as a mainstream party. Well, it's not mainstream. They're actually radical left.
They are, but it's going to get worse, Mark.
Oh,
it's going to get worse because, and I have an exclusive to say about this in a little bit, not just yet, but I've got an exclusive coming about this. But Rayner, Angela Rayner, as you call her, the ginger growler?
The ginger growler, whose bite is worse than her bike.
Yeah.
Wait,
Her bike?
what's happened? Look, she's not a bike. Careful. Family show. Will you please behave yourselves? Whose bark is worse than her bite?
She has done a speech today, and I think the writing's on the wall for Starmer. This is what she said. She said, Labour should apologise for our mistakes. They are a party that needs to do better. And very interestingly, she said, we can start by accepting that Andy Burnham should never have been blocked. It was a mistake that the leadership of our party should put right. Now, for me, that's the starting gun fired, and she is going for it now.
It's war.
Mm-hmm.
This is a Angela Rayner sponsored Labour Party bloodbath. This is like the last days of Rome. Mm-hmm. She is, Starmer is Julius Caesar, she's Mark Antony, and she's holding the bloody dagger. Mm. Infamy, they've all got it infamy. Angela Rayner has waged war on Keir Starmer, and it's interesting because I'm not a fan of hers, but she's much better at politics than he is. Mm. She knows a headline. She's got, for the lefties, a very enviable backstory. Single mother, left school without qualifications. And so she's taking this opportunity to kick Starmer whilst he's down. What we're witnessing in real time is a political assassination. And it's Angela Rayner that's the one with the smoking gun. Where's streeting? Nowhere to be seen. Letting it be known he'd like to be Prime Minister. Well, fantastic. I wouldn't mind having dinner with Paris Hilton. Although that said, don't know. I've seen her work online and I'm not convinced. No, this is, we are witnessing political history play out. The ginger growler has gone from growling to, biting, basically. She's taken lumps out of Starmer. The problem I got, Angela Rayner is just as dishonest as Keir Starmer. Mm. This is a woman who had to delete a video a few days ago of her speaking to school kids at a comprehensive in which she said that Nigel Farage and Reform want to privatise the NHS and make it an American system. That's a lie.
Yeah, not true.
Now, you're entitled to probe Nigel Farage's policy platform. I think there are plenty of questions to answer. I think they haven't even decided half of what they'd like to do if they won. Fine. Let's probe that. But if you have to lie about your opponents, it says a lot about your character, and it also says you have no argument of your own. And it's not true that what they've said, they've looked at models like Switzerland and France and argued that it's delivered better outcomes, and it's still free at the point of need. So if she's got to go to a school and actually indulge in political propaganda and try to brainwash young people with lies about the opposition, and that's going to be our next Prime Minister, good luck with that. Someone that considers her opponents to be scum, someone that doesn't pay the taxes that she's due on financial transactions, purchasing properties. The other thing is I've got actually quite a few good friends who are what I would describe as sort of old school lefties.
Okay.
And they're in the Red Wall areas, Nottingham, the Midlands. They don't consider her to be this working class hero. They see her as someone that came from humble origins, who's now part of the sort of woke North London chattering classes.
Yeah.
With her mojitos and her expensive AirPods and her multiple properties.
Well, this is my exclusive. I was down at the Palace of Westminster last week chatting to a lord or two. And basically I've been told that Rayner doesn't want Starmer and co to think that she's actively out trying to get together backing in a cabinet. But she has very much been out and about trying to get backing and trying to get people in place for support so she can get sweeping. She's gonna remove most of the cabinet members who are currently there and go in with her new fresh team. There's 6 to 7 people she's already spoken directly to who are going to be in this new cabinet. And the fact that in the speech today she shouts out Andy Burnham makes me believe that all of those things are true and that she has a pact with Burnham. And when she does move against Starmer, Burnham will be back in. I don't know how they're going to do it, but Burnham, I believe, is going to be back there right next to her.
Well, this is a massive scoop. And forget about Starmer's boring gaslighting speech. This is the story of the day that you're sitting on, because this is about the fact that, she wants to be our next prime minister, and that she sees Burnham as what? Deputy PM and Chancellor, something like that?
Yeah.
I mean, be afraid, be very afraid, because this is the awful situation we're in now in the UK, that things are so bad, we're almost better off with Sir Keir.
Isn't that a terrible testament to where we're at? That we're and we've said it plenty of times on the show, Mark. We'd be better off keeping Starmer in place until we have a general election, rather than getting in Angela Rayner or Net Zero Ed. For me personally, the rest of the Labour lefties are not what we need running the country. But should we stick with Starmer when the country's in decline, as bad as it is?
Well, I mean, this is how wild it is. I mean, you're asking, do you want your left leg chopped off or your right leg chopped off? And it's an impossible question to answer. The issue you have is that Rayner is loved by the unions. If she gets in, they will want their pound of flesh. Now, we're going back to what we said earlier. This doesn't need to be a personal attack. I do have issues with Starmer's character. I think he's duplicitous. I think he defaults to lying. I think it's almost a Tourette's-like instinct to say things that aren't true by default. But policy-wise, he's slightly more moderate than Rayner and Burnham are. I mean, you mentioned, her recent remarks about what she would do with the economy, and it's ultra left-wing policies.
Yeah.
Now, fine. If you're, let's say, Sweden or Denmark in the 80s and 90s, which were very, very rich countries with highly productive workforce and massive national income, West Germany in the 80s, you can afford a bit of socialism then. I don't agree with it, but a country that's generating vast national income can afford socialism. Look at Norway with the vast oil reserves.
Yeah.
So they have high taxes, but the hospitals are like 5-star hotels.
Yeah.
That's one model. You can't do that with a country that's economically broken, which is what Britain... I love Britain. I'm not going to talk it down. But we're in the red, isn't it? And you know what does my head in? Our viewers and listeners to the Daily Expresso, right? And the readers of the Express, and you and I, we all have to cut our cloth, don't we?
Yeah.
And we have to look at what's coming in and what's going out. We have to make tough decisions. And this government is not doing that on our behalf. We are massively in the red. So a really good headline figure is the interest on the national debt is 120 billion a year. That's 2 government departments. That's double our defence budget. That's interest only. That's not a repayment. So that's only going to grow and grow and grow. And what does Big Ange want to do, the ginger growler, if she gets into number 10? She's going to give the public sector a pay rise. She's going to splash the cash on welfare. She's going to have more red tape on businesses. And it spells, I mean, we're already in trouble financially. So what's likely to happen, and old Farage is on record as saying it, he said, Farage said around 10 days ago, if you want an election next year, an early election, get Rayner. Because what she'll do with her socialist policies is she will provoke a Liz Truss-style market crash, at which point things could be so bad and ungovernable that the Labour MPs move against their own administration and pull the whole thing down.
And that's a good time to end the show, Mark. Well, thank you for watching. Hit the hype button. It's very important. Subscribe, share, like, comment. I do reply to the comments. People are always talking. Last week's episode, people were talking about you being called Barbara. They loved it.
Well, it's my alter ego, as you know.
Aye. And we have viewers and listeners from South Korea. All over the place.
It's an incredible country. It really is.
South Korea?
Yeah, I've been there and it's just so gorgeous. And my goodness, you look at like Japan and stuff back in the day, and it's, in terms of that part of the world now, what a country, what a footprint it's got, creatively and obviously engineering, and especially my Samsung TV.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
And now they've got billboards in South Korea with your face and my face on, saying
we
Daily
are
Expresso.
Absolutely huge in South Korea. And I'm working on North Korea. I've had a Zoom with Kim Jong-un. He's frosty, I'll be honest with you.
When you turn up dead in your bathtub, this is going to be the reason why.
I will say one thing, though. Old Kim Jong-un, he said, my God, that Keir Starmer, isn't he awful? I said, you got that right. I said, listen, if you fancy leading a different country, fill your boots, baby.
Right, Mark, thank you very much.
Cheers, man.
Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.